Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. I should hopefully not have issues with my laptop like I did last time. That was a funny predicament. Um, yeah. So let's have a look. So I'm doing a Taylor stream because it worked last time and that was pretty fun. And as you could tell from the title, I'm doing a Beef B one. So let's have a look. Let's open up this one. There we go. Here it is. Oh, let me just swap tabs real quick. There we go. Here it is. Here's the setup. Let me just make sure it's sign up, and then boom. Yeah, there we go. As you can see, there's our Taylor setup. All the episodes are down here. Let's see, is anyone watching? No, not currently. Oh, never mind. Hey Zerg, welcome to the stream. Yeah. So I guess, should I begin or gonna begin ranking soon? Doing the tier list, oh my god. Well, look at these. That's fun. Oh. Yeah, I might start soon, yeah. Hold on, the chat isn't loading properly. It's just showing the thing. Refresh it. There we go. Don't know why it does that. I guess, it might be more of a reason anyway. So, yeah, cool. Alright, so let's begin. So here we have the first episode. Now, I know people are going to hate me for saying this, but I am not as much of a fan of the first episode as other people are. I guess I've noticed some people really like the first episode. I remember seeing a review of the series and they put BFB1 as their literal favorite episode out of the whole series, and I was kind of like, what? I don't see that. And I guess it might have to do with like partly nostalgia, but at the same time, people genuinely enjoy it. While me, I don't enjoy it as much. Like it's an okay episode. I just think that it drags on a bit long. I mean, yeah, it kind of makes sense with the amount of contestants, but again, that's still a flaw nonetheless to me. And just overall, it's an okay episode. It's a good start, but I think it does a lot better later on in the season. Which I'm thinking either putting it in D or C, but considering a lot of the post episodes, I might put it in C, but I might make it a low C eventually. So we'll see. We'll see. Episode 2. This one's definitely worse. Like, no, don't get me wrong, it isn't a bad episode. It's just one of the lesser episodes, even for like, pre-split. Really, it's not like terrible, but it's a lot. It has the kind of a I can't speak. Jeez, it has a bit. It does. Shit. How long was the episode again? Oh, let me. I have the episodes here. It was like a 10-minute episode in comparison to like a 30-minute episode. It was one of the short. It was like a pretty short episode. And to be honest, it wasn't that great, and Leafy was a bit unbearable at times. It just wasn't as interesting, really. Episode 3 was pretty good. I will say that. I think the Book and Taco drama started off pretty good. At times when it was written later in the season, it was a bit like it went from Taco and Book kind of being in the wrong to a degree. Okay, not really, to be honest. Like, Taco was mostly in the right during this drama, but at this point you can kind of understand that Book didn't really, like... there was obviously a misunderstanding, while later in the season it was pretty obvious. Literally, the rest of the team disagrees with him. But in this case, it made a little bit more sense. And also, just the episode just has a lot more going for it, from what I remember. Mm. Alright, hold on, let me check. Yeah, stream's still going. Okay, cool. And then we have episode 4. This is definitely one of my more favorite episodes of this kind of, like, era. I will say because, oh, that reminds me, I have this, like, era setup where I kind of, like, lay out all the areas and stuff. And I made it in Google Sheets. I might bring it up soon, actually. And it's basically just all of, like, the whole season split into specific eras, as well as kind of, like, you have your split and all that. But episode 4 is like the start of a new era of like going from these first 8 episodes where I felt like the animation was very limited in comparison, aside from some shots, but overall it was a lot more simple style. And I think episode 4 is like the first episode where they took that and kind of tried it a bit different. And this is definitely an episode I'd come back to, because the different ways that the teams make, fall into art was really fun to watch, and just the different, yeah, that's something that you always kind of come for with certain challenges, is being able to see how each team tackles a challenge. Now, obviously, some challenges like I guess BFB2 has that element to it as well. I don't think it does it as well though. Episode 3 does, yeah, well, these episodes usually do have that element of that, and I think episode 4 really takes advantage of it, and it becomes a lot more fun to watch. Episode 5 is a bit boring. Dude, well, maybe not boring, but just short and unmemorable. I think forgettable is a better word for it. I do kind of like it more than episode 2, but it's... probably put it either in... I'm debating where I should put it in front of episode 1 or not. Not too forgettable. I don't know. It's not a bad episode, it's just kind of meh. See what I mean? C's kind of where all the meh episodes go, as you can tell. And then we have episode 6. This is the one where the donut becomes the host, right? Yeah. This one was good. I like this one. I don't really have much else to say about it, aside from it's a good episode. It's having for no longer be the host and changing it up a bit is refreshing. It changes it up a bit. Seeing a contestant also, I know that in a later episode there's a bias thing that happens with Donut, and that becomes interesting, although not done as well as I'd hope it would. I'll get to that later, but Donut as a host was an interesting thing to do, and I kind of like that, and it works well for a good chunk of these kind of mid pre-split era, which I would call the Donut era, basically. So I'd probably put that here. It's just a good episode. Maybe High B. High B will do. A good solid episode. Episode 7's really interesting because that's where a lot of the loser stuff happens that I actually like. Honestly, there's a lot of stuff to do with loser in this episode that I genuinely really like how it's done. It's a lot more interesting. And that's why it's probably going to be like my favorite episode at this point. I don't know, I just really like this episode. The liable. And all the contestants going crazy over it and not knowing what to do about it is also really entertaining to me. Pretty fun. I like it. This episode, now I will say, this episode here and episode 10 both have a very similar case of being also kind of forgettable. Maybe not to the same degree as episode 5, per se, but they do kind of both have an element of that. I tend to forget these 2 episodes when thinking of the season, especially when thinking of like pre-split. I always usually go to like the latest this era here, where 4 comes back, or the beginning of the donut era, or heck, even like earlier episodes where they aren't as quality quite yet, and they're still kind of finding their footing. These two are just kind of forgettable. Although I do think this one's a bit more memorable due to, again, like I mentioned, the donut situation where he's being really biased. Like, it's probably gonna put it like here. There's a bit of a forgettable element to it, but I do think the interesting idea of like Donut being really biased for his team is kind of funny to me. And the way that I think Stapy tries to cheat in a match doesn't let that happen. This episode, I tend to forget it very easily. This is very similar to episode 5 to me, in the fact that it's just not memorable. I do like how X comes back, but that's about it. And how the X part of the episode is what makes me put it above episode 5. Is just because X gets something to do again, and he's back, and the way he's written into the episode is really cool. It's like one of the best X episodes, really. Where, well, yeah. Episode 10, I think, is a pretty good episode. I would probably put, like, B tier, maybe A tier. Mainly because it finally reveals the exit, right? You finally get revealed what the exit looks like. And then the rejoin is introduced as well, which at first you'd think, oh, it doesn't really be needed, but considering that the season did end up splitting in the end, this kind of works, especially with Leafy rejoining. That was kind of a necessary thing to happen, in my opinion. I think Leafy having that bit of a rewrite with their character kind of works here, because Leafy got out a bit early due to some things about episode 2 that Leafy isn't really that good in that episode, and is the reason why they got eliminated. And seeing them being able to come back in because of the rejoin here, and in episode 11, pretty cool. What else is there? 4 came back, obviously. How do we see the exit otherwise? What was it? Who got eliminated? David, I think. Yeah, David got eliminated. Yeah, the challenge was to bring back 4. That was pretty good. I'm probably going to put it on a similar kind of thing as, like, this episode. Maybe a bit higher due to the exit being revealed and stuff being really cool. And the rejoin. The challenge, I wish... Like, it was a very short challenge and just a shorter episode in general. I think that's the only thing that really brings it down. Hold on, let me have a look how long it was. 11 minutes. Although BFB 9 was pretty short. And so was BFB 8, but they're like forgettable episodes, that makes sense. Oh. It's actually a bit longer than some of these mid-era episodes, I guess. It's actually not that... Okay, maybe I might be wrong about that. Might be able to move it up a bit. There we go. That's better. These 3 episodes are definitely high-tier episodes, in my opinion. This is a bit more biased because I really like Flower. BFB 11 is my personal favorite episode. Probably not the best episode, but my personal favorite. Just because of Flower. The challenge is nice and simple. The Iant stuff is cool. If only Match wasn't eliminated literally the next episode, and I think the plot of that would have been a lot more interesting. Just overall, this is Flower's, like, best episode to me. It is, again, my personal favorite episode, but probably won't be the highest up here due to the fact that some later episodes are really good in general. While this one is very good with Flower specifically to me, and it has slight other issues at times, I think. Like, it's, again, like, it's a bit more formulaic. Oh, well, the rejoin is also there and Leafy's there, so it also puts it in S for me, because that was good. It was a shorter episode, that's right. It was a bit of a shorter episode. I remember it being a bit shorter. Don't know why I thought of this one being shorter for some reason. Maybe it's just what happens and it seems a bit shorter at first due to the challenge being very quick. Episode 12. This one's good. I'd probably put, like, high A. This one did the Among Us before Among Us got popular, so that's cool. Uh, it's a pretty solid episode. Although, I don't know, it's just solid. Like, a very solid episode that is worth watching. I don't know how to explain it. I'd probably put it about here. It doesn't have a whole lot interesting to it aside from the fact that it's one of the episodes that is able to like kind of actually be a bit more suspenseful due to the fact that you actually genuinely don't know which team is actually going to go up for elimination for once. Because some of these episodes, it becomes like either an obvious bait and switch or it's a bit more obvious which team might go out, that sort of thing. For example, in episode 2, it's so obvious that Beav is going to go out due to them just constantly doing just failing to just do one like jawbreaker at times. For example, the Nickel and Leafy trying to get Woody to lick the jawbreaker or whatever, and failing miserably constantly, and just overall the Leafy being so obviously antagonistic, like out of characterly antagonistic. Sorry, that just led me to kind of do a mini rant on Leafy in episode 2. Have I mentioned that I don't like Leafy in episode 2 of Beef B? Even in episode 1, they're kind of okay at best, and they're just kind of like mad worse. Leafy's just kind of like, yeah. What else is there? Let's have a look. Here we go. This is where we get into the real big episodes. Episode 13. Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious that episode 13, 14, and 15 are going to be making it into S tier. Now, I'm going to be putting episode 13 below 11, I'd say. There are some things about 11 that I personally like a little bit more that I'd come back to. But episode 13 is a mammoth episode. There are some character things that I don't quite like and kind of put me off of watching it. For example, freaking that one. There's this one scene in the episode that really annoys me. It's not going to be making me put it lower, but it is only going to be making me put it below episode 11 due to this. It gives me a good excuse. The scene with Cake and Iggy before they go into the hole and do this whole religious thing, and the idea of like, oh, my sort of connection with Loser is better than your scene, it hurts to watch, man. And I'm pretty sure everyone agrees with that. It's not an opinion thing in that case. I just think people, I just think people don't really like that scene because it's just kind of, no, thank you. I don't want to bring that into the show. Episode 14 is going to go above episode 11. A really just solid episode, and yeah, it's better than episode 13 by a good chunk just because some of the character stuff is better as a whole, and the whole lava thing going on in that episode, and it's very intense and great. I love it. Oh, hello, Microphone Studios. Welcome to the stream. Next episode, BFB 15. This is a toughie. I don't know whether to put it in S or... Well, no, S or S. Either in front or behind of episode 14, because... I'm probably going to put it in front. It might be not my personal favorite, but the overall favorite in my opinion when it comes to a solid episode. My personal favorite may be BFB 11 just due to Flower, but if it wasn't for that specifically, I mean, it's still high tier, but like, this would be how it looks like in general. Just because BFB 15 is so solid of an episode and does so much more interesting stuff with Leafy and Fire. I actually really enjoy the conflict between the two characters in this episode. It's the main part of it, in fact, that I mainly enjoy this episode because their conflict is so fun to watch. So fun to watch. I love watching people argue. But yeah, and then Needle actually having a role in that is pretty cool. I like that. So, yeah, that's cool. Episode 16. This is gonna be hard because this episode feels very weird and very off of the rest of the show. It has this. It feels like a weird in between of. Well, I mean, it's kind of is a weird in between of the previous BFB stuff of these episodes that are high quality and such animation and everything with that you'd usually have more stakes with, but it tries to be a lot more humorous and doesn't take itself nearly as seriously like the post-split stuff. So I wouldn't say it's an S tier episode because it's kind of all over the place. It feels really weirdly paced and you quite don't know what's going on. I wouldn't say it's a bad episode though, because you could come back to it, and it's probably one of the more humorous episodes as a whole. There's a lot of good humor in it. But I'm thinking B tier because overall it's just a weird episode to come back to. Like you could come back to it, but it's one of those episodes that's kind of like it's weird, you know? And its main purpose was to go, hey, there's two shows now. We're splitting them up. That's mainly the only reason it exists, is to explain how that happens. So I'm putting it high B tier. The humor is really good. So now this is where things get very difficult because these episodes I haven't gone back to in a bit. Like some of these episodes I haven't come back to in a bit. But overall, just these episodes are very weird to rank. You're probably going to see some lower stuff here, but also some just meh stuff. Because there's a lot of meh episodes here. A lot of them. Sadly. Episode 17. This is where the art style really noticeably, you can notice that it's all over the place. The writing isn't bad in this first episode. Like, I actually do think there's some decent stuff here, but, like, it feels a lot. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's D, but it's definitely, like, low C tier. And I feel very similarly about episode 8. Okay, maybe it's not. Is it behind B? Maybe. I haven't watched these two episodes in a while. This is difficult. Oh, I mean, I haven't watched this episode in a while, but. Damn, this is a bit difficult. Yeah. So, let's have a look. There, or will I put that behind them? I think you might be getting a bit more bang out of your buck with these two episodes, rather, like, with these episodes separately. No, that does not go in there. Rather than this episode, mainly because there's a bit more going on with these ones, and because this episode's just kind of forgettable. Why these ones, I guess they have similar qualities to that, but there's a bit more going on, and I actually do like these challenges. Like, the challenges in, like, post-split are really good at times. There are some pretty cool challenges. But here's where things kind of go downhill for me. Episode 19 is not good. I do not like episode 19. In fact, low D tier, mainly, no, maybe even E tier. I'm gonna put an E tier. Just, it's not a fun watch, in my opinion. I don't enjoy watching episode 19 because there's a lot of just things happening for the sake of things happening, and it feels very rushed. That's an issue I have with the post-split, is very rushed episodes. Which hurts, because, god damn. And yeah, 20, it's going in F. I'm sorry, but it, well, actually, no, I'm not sorry, because a lot of people seem to agree that this episode kinda sucks, man. I hate to say that, but episode 20 really did suck. It's a space episode. How could you ruin that? Like, it, yeah, the space, it's, again, like I said, it's a space episode. It shouldn't be this, like, all over the place. The whole 4 and X just being unfair about, and doing all this dumb point shit. A lot of, again, like I said, episode 19 and 20 feel like random things are just happening. And that makes me very annoyed. and I'm not happy about it. But this is where I think it starts to get a bit better. Episode 21 is the warehouse episode. This one I actually enjoyed this one. This one was pretty good. I'd probably put this in like B tier or something. Because, like, I will say I'm a bit more apologetic for this season than some other people, but I do agree that this, post-split, well, not the whole season, I was meaning isn't just specifically post-split. The post-split part of the season has a couple of episodes here and there that are actually pretty decent and could stand up to some of the episodes. Not all of them, but some of them. And obviously, the later half of the season has some, the last 3 episodes are really good, in my opinion. Anyway, episode 21, it's probably gonna be like low B tier or something. Maybe even high. Oh no, nah, it isn't. Mainly due to the fact that it there's some character stuff there that I've done because the one thing that post split is able to do is do more character development with a much shorter, shorter contestant size, which is a really good thing in my opinion, and is the main reason why the split happened. So, a bit more focused character development. But with a lot of rushed writing, it's very hit and miss. Because the writing's very rushed a lot of the time. This is one of the episodes that seems to hit a bit better. Due to a lot of, Blocky and Woody stuff kind of starting around here. There was... Just Woody in this episode was a lot more interesting than in this episode. Woody has had a lot of interesting stuff in the show. I wouldn't say Woody's my favorite character, but I do like some of the different character developments. But yeah, episode 21 is definitely a bit better of an episode than episode 17 and 18 due to it being a bit better art style wise. The art style doesn't change as much. It doesn't change as much. So, that's pretty good. And just more interesting stuff going on. I wouldn't say it's definitely not anywhere up here. None of these episodes, aside from maybe these later episodes, would be able to even reach them. Episode 30 probably would make it, but these ones here, no. Maybe these 3 here though. The Courthouse episode. This one wasn't as good. It's here, maybe even here. Art style's a bit consistent as well. This is, again, like I said, a bit more consistent art style. Still not completely consistent, but a lot better. There's not really a whole lot I can say about this one aside from I like the court setting. Oh, that's right, the leafy and fiery stuff is pretty good, but aside from that, it's okay. It's definitely better. No, I'd probably rewatch this over episode 1, just because, again, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of BFB 1. Maybe, I'll put it in high S. People are gonna kill me for that, but there's probably someone who's gonna kill me. Oh, yeah, that is right. Episode 18 did have the look back to Fiery and Leafy's friendship. Yeah, that is right. That is a good thing about episode 18. And it is partly why it's a bit better than episode 17, I guess. I could put it up a little higher. But again, the art style is still very all over the place, and they're still kind of finding out how to do certain things. I think at this point, one thing I really don't like about Loser is just him in post-split. Not that great, in my opinion. I don't know, I don't like how he's written, I guess. It's very weird. You can tell that they don't quite know what they're doing with Loser. Aside from some characters, still, I don't know, it's weird. I don't know how to describe it. Well, also, welcome Firebolt to the stream. Sorry, I got really focused. This episode 23, it's okay, I guess. Not really that great. This is definitely another one of the episodes that I don't like as much. It might even be just D tier. Maybe lower than episode 2. It's not the worst, but it's a part of the worst. There's something about it. I don't like as much. They go back to the warehouse, first of all. This is where Purple Face is introduced. I'm not a huge fan of Purple Face. I gotta be honest. It's not like the voice acting or anything. It's just the way the character's written is just kind of meh. It's not one that I'd really come back to. I'm gonna put it in D. I don't like it as much. Episode 24. I always forget this one exists. Seriously. Hold on. What happens in this episode? What challenge is it? Let me have a look. Oh, it's an ad. I have it muted at the moment because I don't have a proper mic set up right now, so just echo, and I don't want that to happen. Another ad. Thanks. Cool. There's that podcast stuff. Oh, it was the stuff with the parties. I think it's just forgettable. I always forget this one exists. I guess. I guess when they mention it in episode 30, I like, oh yeah, that one exists. And I always forget it exists. I mean, there are some good things about it. But again, like, I don't know. It's a bit forgettable. Maybe not as... yeah, whatever. I'm gonna just pop it there. Ah, yeah, Rusty Coin in that. Yeah, I didn't like Rusty Coin. I don't like the way he was voiced. I don't know, it just felt weird to me. Maybe that's just me, though, to be honest. But again, like, this is where I think I just kind of bored of the show around this time when I was watching it, and yeah, I haven't watched it in a while, that's for sure. This episode had some issues, from what I remember. I didn't really like this episode at all. The new setting was cool, I guess, but that's really the only thing I like about the episode. The writing wasn't that great. The way Flower wins was kind of dumb. Flower Dance is not a fun meme that I really like as much as other people. Wow, she danced. That's cool. And Flower's like my favorite character in the show, so for me to say that, I guess when it first happened, I was like, that's kind of cool. But aside from that, I don't really like this episode. Just the writing is just not there for me. It's probably like low D tier. I don't think I'm gonna do much more with the E and F tiers at this point, because I don't know. At this point, like E and F has just been relegated to like, is that the word? Whatever. It's just been dedicated. That's the word, to episode 19 and 20. I really don't like those two episodes. Yeah, I agree. The rock thing was so disappointing. Yeah, that was a really well made song. I will admit that. That was a catchy. Da, 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 da. But yeah, the actual meme itself of it. Yeah, this episode was actually a bit better. I kind of like Profile here. I think he's written way better in the later episodes, like episode 29 and 30. He's written really well, especially episode 30. I actually think he's really good there. But his first appearance comes off as a bit annoying, like a bit too annoying. But aside from that, he's not a bad character, actually. I think he's fine. In fact, I think this is a low C tier episode, maybe. Maybe, yeah, I'd say even better than episode 5. But, like, actually, yeah, I'd probably put it, like, here? Maybe, no, here. I'll put it there. I think that's a good place to put it. I can understand why people don't like Profile. He is a bit annoying of a character. But I'm gonna say this: I don't mind him in the later episodes, but in that first episode, he is at his most annoying. And I do like how they have to eliminate him, though. That's kind of funny. This episode was kind of disappointing. I do kind of like the Flower stuff in there because, again, like I said, Flower's my favorite character. But it was just kind of meh. Like I'll put it low C tier. I don't know. There's not really much to say about it aside from I don't like how Leafy was written in that episode. It feels very similar to a situation like BFB 2. In fact, I might lower it just because of that. Should I put it behind that episode? Maybe, because there was some Force stuff in there that was kind of interesting at least, but not really. It really only works with BFB 30 and how that relates there, and that's about it. You don't really need to watch. Oh, you kind of do, though. Or not. Well, technically, you don't need to watch this episode to really understand the 4 stuff that is being brought in up in episode 30, because everything else has to do with 4 here. Because they already kind of didn't like him in a lot of other episodes. And here we go. This is where things get a bit better, because these final 3 episodes were really good to me. First up was this one. This one gave me a bit of hope for a good finale. Because it was when Announcer appeared, and that whole backstory stuff was off with him that was brought up throughout these final 3 episodes were really good. So yeah, this was Gelatin, Flower, Teardrop, and Leafy in the final 4. Leafy gets eliminated, and I think the challenge was every other previous challenge. It does that thing, and you know what? Entertaining. It's definitely, at this point, a very decent episode. I like it. I think there's some funny jokes in there, too. I feel like at this point, they were like, okay, we're getting near the end of the season, let's take a bit more time to think this out. And that's why I like these episodes more. Yes! Combined challenges. The mole on the oven was kind of, yeah, that was kind of weird. Okay, let's have a look. What else have we got here? Episode 29. This was a fun episode. I remember that one scene that was the drawn version of the scene. That was cool. The whole idea of Flower having to fork over her, like, money that for her business to save the show and her actually doing it was really good, honestly. It was a good, fun episode. In fact, it's an A tier. Where in A tier, I'm not sure, because that's a difficult fucking... Because this is where I really started to enjoy these episodes, and it's a bit late. I'd probably put it, like, mid A tier. That was fun. I like that episode. Yeah. Drummer Swazzy. Yeah, I guess. It kinda was. Oh yeah, and there was the fiery part where it was like... that one fiery part where Fire is begging for, like, the BFB or something while in front of the camera. Doesn't that get them, like, negative, like, views or something? Yeah. Anyway, I think it's fair to say that BFB 30 is somewhere in S tier. Where in S tier, I'm not completely sure. Because I really enjoyed these other episodes writing-wise. Even slightly better than BFB 30, because it still had that more jokey side to it at times, but... And, you know, more of a newer character personalities at times. But I think it would be fair to at least put it either here or here. Maybe here. It's either third, second, or first. What do you guys think? I'll pop it back. No. I'll pop it, like, here for now. Don't worry, it's not staying there. I just need to check this. Oh, yeah, it's better than BFB 11. BFB 11's my personal favorite episode. But overall, it's not gonna be as good because of the shorter run time, and mainly only really liking it a lot because of Flower. Which Flower's in this one heavily as well, because, you know, Flower wins, which I'm very happy about. I'm super happy that Flower won the show, because she deserved it. The whole 4 thing was really well done. You know what? It's going top. I fucking love that episode. It's a great episode. Alright, there's the tier list. Alright, let's have a look. So, let's get a bit of a look at this full tier list. So, we have S tier episodes, which are episode 30, 14, and 15. We got BFB 11, and we have episode 13. I am very happy to agree with that, because those are just genuinely really good episodes. Episode 30 for its just being a great finale, capping things off. Episode 13 and 14 for being a really good duo set of episodes. that just had a lot of stakes and that was really fun to watch, especially episode 14. BFB 15 because the whole fiery and leafy stuff there, and the fact that everything was covered in lava and had to all get drained and stuff, that was cool. Challenge was very basic, but it works. Things kind of loose ends being caught up a bit more. And BFB 11 because flour. I fucking love BFB 11 because there's so much flower stuff in there, and Flower's my favorite character, so it's a bit biased, but I mean, it's my tier list. So, and then we have the A tier, which is episode 7, episode 12. Wait, episode 7? Is that right? Or is that episode 8? I always forget. I don't know why I forget. Let me have a look. Episode 7. Yeah, I was right. The first time. Episode 7, 12, 29, 4, and episode 10. Good, just solid, really good episodes that just have a lot of just really good character stuff. You got really good loser character stuff. You got your fucking Among Us. Okay, not just Among Us, but like just fun character, like character interaction. I do like how Div Pack finds out who the imposter is. That's good. It's a creative way of doing it, and it works for the characters there, especially Pi. 29 just being a really fun episode that doesn't focus on a challenge and more of just a story in general of them trying to earn back more money for to save the show. Episode 4, the many different ways of how the teams do the challenges are really good. It probably would have been a higher if it wasn't for Pillow being dumbass, but that doesn't drop the episode all that much lower to me because it's a bit more of an ignorable moment for me personally. Fun fact, Pillow is my least favorite character. I thought I mentioned that. And episode 10 just being really good, like it does a lot for the show. It introduces the exit. It brings back 4 and introduces the exit. It does a really good rejoin for episode 11. You know, there's a lot of good things. A very simple challenge that works and it's just solid. B tier, episodes that I find good but can be flawed to a degree. Yeah. Episode 16, yeah, it was mainly focused on like a transitional phase, really. It's an episode that you could come back to and still enjoy. It's just a bit weirder than the rest of the series, and it feels a bit out of place. It's funny to say, considering when episode 17 came out, that was the most out of place thing, but now that the whole series is done, it kind of puts episode 16 in a weird spot, because it feels kind of like a mixture of the two halves of the seasons, and then kind of feels really awkward for that. It's like a smear frame. The smear frame of the series. And to be honest, I kind of like their smear frames, not gonna lie. As an animator... Yeah, hold on, let me quickly read the chat. That is kind of weird, how that button did drain all the lava, but I found that kind of more of a funny moment as well. And just a decent, quick way of kind of fixing that situation and make it so that the challenge could end a lot easier. I don't mind that. Although, yeah, BFDI did do a similar thing. Ooh, rate Teapot 1. It also... If I had to rate Teapot 1, I'd probably put it in S tier. Where in S tier? Probably the top. Like, I don't know, somewhere in there. It's very... Hey, Supernormal. It's very similar to episode 15 to me, where it's just high-quality stuff. Except it's a bit more high quality than episode 15. It's like the best of this kind of, like, really quality era of BFB of, like, episode 13, 14, and 15. And technically 16, but not really. Anyway, back to talking about B tier. Episode 6? Is that? That's episode 6, right? Yeah, that's episode 6. Good episode. Solid. Really like. Good challenge idea. Episode 28's here. That was a cool comeback. The writing's still a little weird at this point. It still feels a little bit rushed, but at the same time, not really. and I do like seeing all the way that the characters do the challenges and stuff. That's got some good jokes. Good. Episode 3, pretty good, solid. I like it. And in the warehouse episode, good episode. It's okay. It's pretty good. It's like barely in the meh era. Only barely he gets out of it due to some character development that I kind of like in the episode, like with Woody and Blocky. I guess Taco's in there too, but I don't know. Taco's kind of like on the side of it, just kind of like Blocky. Don't be a bitch. Don't be such a meanie. Don't do that to Blocky. That's about it. The warehouse episode, again, like fiery and leafy development. What else can I really say? That's mainly why the episode's kind of like higher S tier. I mean C tier. Can't read. While if it wasn't for the fiery and leafy stuff, it would probably be like low C tier or something. And then you got the Thinky episode, the episode of where Donut is a bit biased, and that's funny to me. And that's the only reason why it's highest C tier. That's the only reason why it's high C tier. Because, I don't know, it's not that memorable. Challenge isn't all that interesting. It's a bit of a lazy challenge. But yeah, again, like Donut being a bit biased for their team is funny to watch. I like it. Amoug. Alright. Where was I? Episode 1. A good start. That's about all I'll say. Again, a lot of people really like episode 1. And I'm pretty sure people are gonna kill me for this. For putting it in C tier. The tier that's considered meh. It's not an episode I like going back to. I think it's mainly due to the fact that I started in the Odyssey by starting with watching BFB. So it didn't feel all the characters are back kind of thing. I didn't feel that as much because these characters were new to me. So I didn't get that sort of hit from it. And then here we go. Here's episode 18. It's weird, but it's not bad. This episode, it's cool to have X back, but I don't know. I might put it above 18. There we go. Oh, there was the fiery and leafy stuff. The X stuff was a bit more interesting, actually. But even then, both of them are kind of forgettable. The Profiley 26 episode, I kind of like Profiley, but that's about it. That's really all that interesting, aside from some backstory stuff. Episode 17 is right here in lower C tier, because, I don't know. It just kind of like had some art style things to get across. I do like Balloony. I will say that I think Balloony is a cool character. I like him. The fact that he's obviously a lot less popular was why he kind of got eliminated, because everyone was saving all their favorite characters, and then Balloony was just kind of the sit duck rip. Freefall. Yeah, this episode is not an amazing episode, basically just because it's kind of forgettable. Yeah, I don't know, not really much else to it. Then we go episode 24, and this is the D tier. Oh boy, the episodes where I'm just kind of like, yeah, no thank you. So yeah, we go episode 24, I had the 4 shit with, like, no one respects me. Nobody respects me! Well, he doesn't say that, but that's basically what he probably would have. That's the line he could have said. He didn't, but yeah, I agree. Yeah, Supernova. I definitely agree with that. It does get boring because it drags out quite easily with the amount of contestants and stuff. Now, I guess the basketball challenge was kind of unique, but I'm not completely sure. It wasn't that unique. Like, it's a very sports kind of challenge. The way X thinks of it, though, is pretty good. Episode 27. Yeah, this one was just... Nah. Oh, yeah, they definitely looked very weird in the earlier episodes. I agree. Yeah. It was just kind of weird. They had to kind of like, again, like episode 1 to 3, they hadn't quite figured out what they were doing yet, so it was kind of a growth era for them. I did still like episode 3 though. There's some cool things about it. Well, episode 2 is a bit lower. As you can tell, we're about to talk about episode 2 now. Episode 2 is my least favorite of the pre-split because Leafy isn't very written well and just, it's so obvious that Beep's up for elimination. And I just don't really like it all that much. Ugh. It's just an icky BFB episode for being a pre-split episode, you know? There we go, episode 23. This one, it's just, I don't know. There's something about the writing that's just obviously very rushed and, yeah. And then we have episode 25, barely missing out on the E tier. I could put it down in E tier. Should I? Because the way that Flower, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm putting the episode down to E tier because I don't like that episode all that much. It's a very disappointing episode that just really aggravates me to a degree. The writing's not very good. The way challenges explained not very good. The only thing that's really good about it is the new change, like the change of like place, and it looks neat. But you don't really get to explore it at all. It's just so rushed. If this era of BFB wasn't rushed, we would have had such a better season overall, in my opinion. Because that era was so rushed, man. And the writing ended up just not, yeah. And then here we go, my least favorite episodes of BFB, both being from post-split. Episode 19 and 20. Now, episode 19 is a little bit better, but still pretty bad. I think it's mainly just because episode 19, there was just a lot of just things happening with no real reason, and it's just bad writing. Episode 20 is the worst of this. It's meant to be space episode, but it isn't a very good one. I hate it. Yeah. I'm excited for what they do for Teapot 2. Good point, my name. Good point. But, yeah, there's my tier list. How long has the stream been going? I have no clue. Let me have a look. Doesn't say right here. Average stream. Let me have a look. Maybe if I open it at a new tab or something. I don't know how long it's been going. I haven't really checked. How? Whatever. It's about the end of the stream anyway. I hope you guys like this stream. Hopefully I'm going to do more of these kinds of streams where I rank episodes. Episodes are really fun to rank. I might do Inanimate Insanity ones. I could do Season 1 of BFB. I mean, BFDI. God damn it. And like I said, Teapot would be like S tier somewhere. It's not on here, so I can't really rank it. And I'm mainly focusing BFB. Because it's a finished season. Yeah, it's gonna become the new BF. It's kind of become the new BFB because BFB, like this era of BFB, really took long for episodes to come out. It's become that part of BFB where it just like takes forever to come out, but when it does come out, it's so good. Alright. See you guys. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Good.